Okay, we're ready. So good evening, everyone. Welcome to the February 8th, 2021 meeting of the Town Planning Board. As we normally begin, we'll begin with a Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
for which it stands,
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty
and justice for all.
for all. The first thing on the agenda is for approval of the minutes of our meeting conducted on January the 25th.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Richard, second by Mike Leroy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Oh
Fred?
my God, I just noticed I'm logged in as Doug Miller. What an insult that is.
Aye. All right, minutes are approved as written. The first item on our agenda is an application by Neparella Consulting. And this is with respect to a zone change recommendation for us to give to the town board as to whether we are recommending approval or non-approval of changing from a CA to a CB. And this is specifically for property located at 7030 Manlius Center Road. A proposed self-storage facility. Two tax map numbers, 062-4-6.1 and 062-4-6.2. I think we're open for further discussion. And Richard, I think you're the one we want to hear from immediately.
Yeah, thank you. I did my research, found out that it was never zone CB. It was zone CA, and there was some discussion back several years ago about what could be put on the property. And I got confused at the last meeting. So it's resolved. It was always CA. And personally, I do not have a problem going to CB based on the properties located in that general area.
Did anyone else want to discuss before we before I entertain a motion? Okay, then I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to recommend that we change it to CB.
I'll second that.
Second by Arnie. All in favor?
And if I can ask you to delineate a couple of the reasons on the record for the town board, they would like that.
Well, I'd like to put on record that it's consistent with the existing neighbors. There are several parcels on that short stretch of road. They're all CA. It is not at all inconsistent with what is going on in that neighborhood.
I'll take a step further. When Tim Frateschi was the town attorney and planning board attorney, he would never let us put outdoor sales in a CA zone. It had to be in a CB zone. When we switched attorneys, the guidance was you could have outdoor sales in a CB zone, which we then approved.
Not
So, pardon?
Not me. That wasn't me.
No, I didn't hear
You said the other attorney. You said
Yeah,
when
I'm
it
not going to
wasn't
mention.
Tim.
I'm not mentioning names, but
Okay.
it was not Jamie. And so we approved a use that had outdoor sales in a CA zone. And so since it, in my mind anyway, since it basically turned it into a CB zone, that it isn't a stretch to actually change the zoning now.
Did anyone else want to put anything else on record? Okay, we've got a motion made and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Looks unanimous to me. Motion is approved. We're going to make a recommendation to the town board then that the zoning be changed from CA to CB. And that'll be up to the town board to decide, Matt, whether to do so. Okay,
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. I'll pass it along to my client. And we
Thank you,
will head
Matt.
back to the town board. Thank you much.
Thanks, Matt.
Have a good night, guys.
Okay,
Folks, the next item on the agenda is that application by Wildcat Renewables. And this is scheduled tonight for a public hearing relative to site plan and special use permit. This is a solar array project, which is planned for 7390 Kirkville Road, East Syracuse. And this is all on one tax map number 055-01-10.1. It's on for public hearing, but as we normally do before we proceed with public hearing, I'd like to hear what the criteria is for the special permit. Jamie? You're muted.
Yes, can you give me a minute to pull it up? Maybe we can start with the public hearing and any comments and I'll pull it up. Just take me a minute.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right, folks, and I would entertain a motion to open the public hearing.
could we have some discussion first, Joe?
Yes, of course.
Just some things, and these are kind of odd questions, but I'm gonna ask them anyway. The lease was initialed by let me get my glasses on. Every page of the lease was initialed by Wildcat, but was not initialed by the lessor. And I'm just wondering if there was a reason.
Ryan.
Can I answer
Typic-
that? Is that okay?
Typically, if the lessee initials at the lessor will, I'm just asking the question.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no particular reason for it. It's just a practice that our CEO likes to initial every page. I can't speak for why the landowner did not as well, but it's just that's what our CEO likes to do when he signs a lease.
Okay, and he, in fact, I think it's Aaron.
Aaron, yes.
I was trying to reconcile, and I apologize, but I'm digging through documents here. The Appendix A, I just want to confirm that, in fact, it was signed by Aaron, and also the lease was signed by Aaron. Is that correct?
Yes. I can throw a copy of this on the screen.
The signatures look different. That's all. That's the reason I'm asking.
This is the signature page.
Yep, that's the one I'm looking at. Yes.
Okay. And well, that's it. I don't know why we haven't signed this one. I'll have to look at Exhibit E here.
It's after 1111 of the appendix.
I need to double check Exhibit E to see why it doesn't look like our CEO has signed it. So I'm not sure why that might be off the top of my head. I don't know.
Okay, I was just curious. I mean, it's not major issue, but it just stood out to me.
Sure.
Jamie?
Yes,
Since the landowner has signed the application for the special use permit and site plan, do we need to be concerned about the lease?
as long as, well, first of all, remember, we are not going to be able to make a decision tonight. So if we can have both parties join in the application, that would be probably a good idea, but either party can do so.
Okay.
And I do
Richard, any
have,
more discussion?
The only other thing is back to the issue that I had before, and that was the security for the reclamation or whatever it's called at the end of the day. There's some language in the lease about bankruptcy and so on. So I just want to make sure whatever security is used, whether it's a bond, cash, whatever, protects the town. So, and we have time to review that and understand that. I'll just throw that out. That is something we should be concerned about. And that's it. That's all I have.
Okay. Any other discussion before we entertain a motion?
well, Joe, so reminder that we can't entertain the motion tonight on the special use permit
No,
because,
no, we're entertaining a motion to
Oh.
open the public hearing.
oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Joe.
I'll make a motion to
Yeah.
open the public hearing.
Second.
Second by Mike Leroy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Public hearings are hereby open, and they are with respect to both the special use permit and site plan.
So
Lisa?
the criterion, just to recollect it, and what this board needs to determine is, will the project have an adverse effect on adjacent lands, the immediate neighborhood, or on the character of the community? And in looking at that answer to that question, this board needs to determine, is the community protected from traffic congestion and conflicts, flooding, excessive soil erosion, unnecessary noise, lighting, odors, wasteful energy, or other forms of pollution? Is it appropriate in design for any matters of scenic or aesthetic significance? Is it in harmony with the orderly development of the area? Can any adverse impacts be mitigated by compliance with reasonable conditions? And does the project conform with the town planning goals and objectives? That's it.
But we can't determine that tonight. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Joe, did you want to explain that?
No, can you?
Oh, yes. So, I didn't want to step on any toes.
No, that's all right.
So what you may recall that this, the authority was given to the planning board to determine special permits instead of the town board. And added into the special permit section of the code was this, that authority. However, there's a specific section of the code that deals with solar. And in the solar, it still says town board. And it's just kind of boots and suspenders thing. We might be able to say, listen, this supersedes that, but Tim wanted to make sure that it was consistent. So in the actual solar code, it's going to say that the special permit is in the hands of this board. And that's in process, and by our next, well, not our next meeting, which is when we're going to have the big public hearing, but the one after that, it should all be set and we can make a determination. But we can close the public hearing today and then move to decision next time.
Okay,
From a technical standpoint, we've reviewed everything that Bergman has submitted with Kelly and her staff, and everything looks fine.
okay, thank you, Doug.
Yep.
Lisa, I can't see whether there's anyone else who has questions or wants to present.
I have no questions in the Q&A and I have nothing on Facebook.
That being the case, we can entertain a
Public
motion.
hearing. Move the motion that the public hearing close.
I'll second that.
Motion by Fred, second by Rich. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Public hearing is hereby closed on both issues.
Thank you all.
Then in that case, we're going to postpone until the town board gives us a green light that the legislation transferring special use permits to the planning board is still valid, notwithstanding the fact that solar still refers it to the town board. Okay? We will notify you what the next date will be. It is most likely not going to be February 22nd.
Sounds good.
Okay?
Yeah, one quick question, if I could. Did the town attorney, did you mention that we needed the landowner to be at the decision hearing whenever that date is set?
No, but if you could have them sign the application, then,
Yes,
or give some kind of authority. Mhm.
they have signed the application.
Okay, so we're good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Madigan. Thank you, Ms. Sullivan.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night. We have two add-ons. And Doug, maybe you can help us with the one. My understanding is you wanted to talk to the board briefly about Harrington Homes, and more specifically, the hydrologists. We have heard from Stoner hydrologists, how they want to handle the determination that there's sufficient water flow to handle all those homes.
Sure. We did receive, and I think Lisa, did you forward it to everyone?
I never got anything, Doug.
Okay. We have received a scope of work from Matt Naparella's office. They've hired David Stoner, I think Stoner Associates, to take a look at the groundwater at the Henneberry Heights project that Harrington Homes had come in and looked at. We took a look at what Dave had proposed with our hydrogeologist, and it looks like a good starting point. I have had discussions with Matt's office, indicating that, we think it looks good. It's a good starting point. Basically, I guess we can forward it to the rest of the group for you to look at. But basically what it entails is they would do a drawdown of 2 to 3 wells closer to the road. They would do pump tests, and they would document what that drawdown area looked like. And that would give us a good place to start with probably the first 5 to 7 homes. And then our recommendation would be, if they wanted to move on from there, they would have to do more pump drawdown tests. When we talked to Matt about it, he thought that was reasonable. So it would be cost effective for them to do that, plus move the project through efficiently. So our recommendation was to send our comments off to Matt. I'll forward it to Lisa so the rest of the board can look at it and see if that's something that you want me to forward on to Matt's office.
Okay. I did send you a response, Doug. I think it's very appropriate to send it on to him.
Okay.
Your thoughts and Stoner, the hydrologist, are very, very similar. Start doing the test wells and see whether they diminish or not.
Yep.
Okay.
Doug, from a development standpoint, I'm just curious, because I don't know the answer to this. But if they're going to bring sewers onto this site and only get 5 houses, 7 houses, 10 houses, whatever, based on the flow of the wells, is that a risk they're willing to take?
Matt and I talked a little bit about that. I think, when we look at that site, obviously 1, 2, 3, 4 houses could probably go on that site without a problem. It's just, what's the magic number on the upside? Is it 10? Is it 15? Is it 25? I don't know. But I mean, that's something that we'll have to cross that bridge when we come to it, Rich.
Okay, I didn't know if they factored that in, that they may have to spend a lot of money on sewage or sewer pipe and maybe only get 5 lots.
No, I think that's in the back of their mind, and that's why they want to start small, just like us. I mean, it doesn't make sense for them to sink a whole lot of wells in here and a lot of money. They're trying to mitigate their risk. So,
Okay.
and I've known Dave Stoner a long time. He's very good at what he does. My hydrogeologist knows David real well, so I'm sure it'll be a quality product what Dave puts out there.
Okay, I was just curious. Thank you.
Doug, is it possible for Mr. Stoner to show on a map the extent of that aquifer? It probably goes way the heck off of the site that we're concerned with.
Yeah, I think that's a reasonable thing to ask, Fred.
Yeah, I don't know, I honestly don't know how to map aquifers other than with using tracers and, putting dye in the water and seeing where it shows up kind of thing.
Yep.
Because people, there's going to be people that are concerned about getting into their water supply that I don't know how far away from the site that would be, that we ought to let people know that this development's going in. Whether
'cause
we
we-
have any obligations to, or we have any liability in the future, if we have a dry spell and all of a sudden a lot of people are out without water.
Yep. We did receive a phone call from a neighbor just over the line in Pompey, and we told him that we would keep him informed. So I'm sure there'll be others, just like you're saying.
Yeah.
Doug,
That's-
realistically, do we have any idea timetable wise, how long it's going to take them to dig the 3 or 4 wells?
What Matt told me when I spoke to him late last week, Mr. Schutz, the well driller, is actually in Florida, and they don't anticipate doing the work probably until March or April at the earliest.
All right.
So that's what would be driving the schedule.
All right, we'll wait and see and find out when they're able to move forward.
The other thing Matt said is they would like to strategically place the wells. So let's say they do the well test and, it only supports 3 houses and they put 3 wells in, then those would be 3 wells they would try to use for their development as they move forward. So it sounds plausible what he's put down. So.
Okay.
Fred, you asked a very good question, and I didn't think about it before, but they could be tapping into an aquifer that already supports 10 houses somewhere else.
More our farmsteads too, where they drink a lot of water.
Yeah, I didn't think about that, but that's a good question.
Okay. Folks, the last thing I just wanted to mention in passing is we conducted this past week a number of interviews to fill the position of Frank Mento that is vacant. A number of candidates were interviewed, and one candidate came out very strong, and that recommendation has been forwarded on to the town board. We're anticipating that they may fill that spot on Wednesday, the 10th, possibly. And so we may have a new member by the big hearing on February 22nd.
That'd be a good initiation.
Oh,
I said.
That's good. Very good, Fred.
On that subject, I have had people, Lisa and Joe, if you can chime in, about how to participate in the meeting and how to get on the meeting, etc. Can you maybe review that briefly?
Sure. So Alice and I have established right on the front page of our website, there is a link for the public hearing and for people to register for the public hearing, which is, we're encouraging people to do that. So as we get closer to the public hearing, there will be a link right on our website, and we're going to put the link on Facebook probably the week of as well.
we also are permitting people to sign up in advance. If they intend to speak, they can
Correct.
sign up to speak. And we're going to call them, we are most likely going to start with the list of people who have signed up to speak and go through them before we open it up to the public at large. We want everyone who wants to speak to be able to speak, but I'm hoping we're not going to get duplicate testimony relative to things. I'm hoping we're going to get fresh information from different people regarding different issues about the project.
Did everybody see the video that came in?
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't. My computer will not play it.
You missed a good video then.
I've seen some still photos. Some still photos were provided to me, and wow.
Yeah.
In light of that, the town planning board is going to make a request to the town board relative to removal of woodlands. And that it's prohibited unless or until you pull a proper permit for removal. It'll be of a certain size and dimension. Obviously, people can cut down a tree in their backyard. But when we're talking in terms of massive removal of woodlands, they should be required to pull a permit. So we are going to have a town code about it. And the planning board's taken the initiative to propose this to the town board.
That's good, Joe. I think it's
That's
necessary.
good.
Yep.
I agree.
Are you gonna have a minimum number of trees that, where it'll trigger the need for a permit?
That's for discussion. And we'll be setting up a proposed legislation. I'll be sending it around to everyone in advance, so you can look at it and comment on it.
That's
I
good.
think it's a good idea, great idea, especially in light of what the still photos that I saw. Oh my goodness. We got to prevent things like that from happening.
I agree.
Oh, Fred?
There's another item that I kind of thought that we probably ought to sneak in sometime into our code. And that's the height of flagpoles. Remember the conjugal flagpole discussion that we had over on the creek, and it may never come up again, but it wouldn't hurt if we had some kind of guidance.
It did come up in DeWitt, and I can't remember finally, I believe that there was a height restriction put on it.
I'd do whatever they did, probably. Might find out. Okay, are we ready for adjournment?
Well, Fred, I was hoping you'd make a motion.
I will make a motion that we adjourn.
Second.
Second by Michael Roy. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. We stand adjourned until February 22nd. People, you may want to have a nice hot drink, and it's going to last for a while. I candidly have no idea how many people are going to want to speak.
I don't either.
I do have all my notes from the prior speakers, and while there were a lot before, and I have a file on letters that is just phenomenal. I did want to point out one thing. One particular letter is outstandingly written. It's dated January 4th, 2020, but it was actually written January 4th, 2021. And it's from an associative group where not only do they give opinions, they analyze a whole number of issues, but they justify it and attach to it reports from the applicant and from our side as well. It's all justified and explained in great detail. It was so well done, I was impressed. And it's labeled January 4th, 2020, for whatever it's worth.
Is that something we can see?
Lisa, I think it went out, didn't it?
I'm sure it probably did. Yep.
Oh, is that in the brown envelope that we got a week or so ago?
I didn't send brown envelopes yet.
Oh, okay, all right.
It was on, you sent it as an attachment to the internet?
I
Your,
could have.
email?
It might be a good thing to send it again, Lisa.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay.
Thank you, Lisa.
You're welcome.
All right, everyone, we stand adjourned.
All right, take care, folks.
Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.